Well, we're here again, and it's in the evening. This is the first time I've done an evening interview. Coherencehorsemanship.com, Coherence Horsemanship Institute, and we're really trying to get people to ask why something is a certain way and how do they change that, and really to get people to question the status quo instead of just accepting things the way that they are, and really embrace a new era that's birthing of understanding and learning, and what we're doing tonight, collaboration. This is Lynn Ringrose Moe, and welcome. She is the co-founding partner in Cowboy Dressage, along with Eitan and Debbie Beth Halakmi. Lynn personally created the Cowboy Dressage judging program, and Debbie couldn't say enough nice things about you. She functions as the judge mentor for Cowboy Dressage judges, as well as being the recommended judge. Lynn is an internationally recognized clinician, as well as competing in dressage and Cowboy Dressage. And she has some lovely pictures of dressage attire competition with her mule, which I just thought was amazing. She has competed in multiple disciplines and brings this wealth of knowledge to her clientele. Lynn has a keen interest in teaching others how to ride their horses and mules into a state of mental and physical soundness, stressing the importance of groundwork to develop a deep connection and partnership. She's constantly advancing her own knowledge of both equine and rider biodynamics. She's all about balanced horses and mules with balanced riders having fun. I so welcome you, and I am so honored to have you here tonight. And I would love for you to give our viewing public a brief description of what Cowboy Dressage is.
Oh, I would be so happy to do that. Cowboy Dressage, we started and we threw out everything we didn't like and tried to create something that we loved ourselves. And little did we know that the whole world was going to love it also. So we're kind of simple and basic. We tried to keep rules to a minimum. Our number one rule is be kind to each other and be kind to your horse.
Nice.
And I think when you really try to live by that, you create a culture and a community that is attractive to many, many people. And so when we started this, we had no idea the ripple effect it was going to create. But I believe now we're in like 54 countries, and we're going into, I believe, our 9th year. Wow. So we're pretty new.
New, but it really took over like wildfire once people really understood the principles of it and the foundation to it.
Yes, and I would like to give you a little bit of history on my partner, Eitan Beth Halakmi, and his wife, Debbie. They actually started something that Eitan used to train his horses using classical dressage techniques, and he would do exhibitions. And so he would have a really beautiful Western horse that could piaffe and passage and do. My favorite thing he ever did that I watched was a canter pirouette down to a flat spin, which looks so cool when he does it. So he created this, and somebody asked him, well, what do you call that? And he goes, well, I call it Cowboy Dressage. So that was his baby that he started back in the 90s, he and Debbie. And then I met them. I had known Eitan, but hadn't really known him personally, and met them in, I think, around 2005 or 6. And we were both involved with Western dressage at the time. And then in 2012, we decided to create what we now call Cowboy Dressage, the equestrian discipline of it. So in about 4 months, Eitan and I test drove all the tests that we wrote, but we wrote rules, built a website, tests, score sheets, everything in about 4 months' time, and all of us were working on other projects when we did this. So it was pretty amazing. We have another partner now named Garn Walker. So there's 4 partners. When we first started, we had a woman named Sarah Dickinson who was a partner, and she was our IT person, but she resigned because she had a full-time IT job, and still does my website. Great lady, but she said, when I do IT all day and then I do IT all night, because I got in it for the horses. So Sarah's with us in spirit, but she isn't doing RIT anymore. But we did start with a very small core group because we felt we could go a lot faster with fewer people involved. And now it's branched out into this wonderful, large family of people. And it's been an amazing journey for me.
So what, Lynn, what do you see as the people understand dressage and they understand Western riding? What do you see as the benefits when they bring those two things together and they take away what you said, all the things that you didn't like, and only have the diamonds that are left? How do you see that benefiting horses and people now that it's been 9 years?
We did some things kind of different, redesigning the court. The Cowboy Dressage court is 20 by 40 meters, but we moved the letters to 5 meter and 10 meter distances. So those of you watching who've ridden a long court for dressage, you know the letters are spaced on 6 and 12 meter distances, but you ride at the lower levels 10 and 20 meter circles. So it's hard to use your markers for any kind of spatial orientation. So we make a joke. We go, those of us who are Western riders, we're stupider than the dressage riders, so we had to make it easier. But that's not really the case. We made it easier so that it wouldn't be such a struggle for people. And we shortened the court up because most Western horses don't need a great big long court. They're usually a smaller horse, typically a little more handy. And we also felt our public, even in the walk jog test, wanted to jump in and do things. They didn't just want to do circles and straight lines. So we started adding things like stepping your horse back, half turn on the haunches, half turn on the forehand. A lot more happens much sooner at our lower level tests. So it's more interesting, I think, for our Western riders. The judging part that we have, because I was able to write the program and I mentor the judges, our biggest thing as judges is keep the try. Keep the try in the horse and the rider, because everybody that comes into that court is doing the very best they can. And everybody's on their own personal horsemanship journey. So it's not about competing with the other riders, it's about bettering your own skills. So we really emphasize that, and we let you pet your horses when you're competing. You may speak to them. You can have buddy horses around the court on the perimeter, on the outside of the court. If you're on a young horse who's insecure, they always do better with the herd environment. So they're allowed to have their friends nearby where they can see them so they can relax. And an interesting story was I started my mule in the Cowboy Dressage court. We got her as a young mule, and so she always felt supported there. And so when I decided to take her back to the traditional dressage court, she was always super confident and very relaxed in a sometimes atmosphere where she would be the only animal out there. You know, in the arena, there were no horses nearby. But because I think her foundation was such, she was just confident with it, and she always did really, really well.
That's a nice way to bolster their confidence.
Absolutely. And I think we always say we're good for any discipline, because if you can ride a straight line and do a well-bent circle with a consistent rhythm in your gait, I mean, take all your sports like reining, any of your English sports, everything, the foundational horsemanship skills are really important.
And that's what I was going to ask you. I said, isn't it really about the foundation that everything, well, should have? How about if I say that? It doesn't always have, but it should have.
It should. And we have partnership on the ground tests. So we have tests where you bring your horse in a rope halter, and you have to execute the patterns. You lead from both sides. That builds into a liberty division, where you eventually, through working through the neck rope is your next step, and then complete liberty. So we have those types of classes for people actually who maybe they don't even want to ride.
That sounds like fun. Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty for everybody, I think.
Yeah, well, and what a great way to take a young horse through a foundation on a line and then into the riding categories and teaching.
Yeah, and we have a lot of people that'll bring their yearlings and 2-year-olds, and they'll just do a partnership on the ground test and let them be at the event, and they just sort of grow up with it, so it's not a big deal to them, which is nice.
Very nice. So you said you're in 54 different.
We're in many. My partner would know better than I. He keeps better track of it. But yeah, we're in many, many countries throughout the world. So our umbrella association is Cowboy Dressage World.
I saw that on your site. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where people would find us as far as the discipline, all the tests, all the rules. Recommended clinicians and judges are all listed there. So cowboydressageworld.com is our umbrella association.
Okay.
And that's where you would find, we have professionals in many countries, and they're listed on the website.
Okay. And when you're teaching, traveling and teaching, and you just came back from probably doing that, you're teaching cowboy dressage?
Yes. Primarily cowboy dressage and horsemanship, because that is enough.
How,
a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah, definitely. So where do you think, what do you think the next iteration of this is?
You know, people are starting to find us. This year, COVID was in a way a little bit of a blessing for us, because we started virtual shows, and we were able to invite in people that maybe wouldn't have an opportunity to go to a live event from many, many parts of the world. They could set up their own court, film their ride, and send it in.
Oh.
And we would judge it and place the classes and send out the awards. And so our virtual direction was sort of surprisingly successful and strong. I started out of necessity, started doing Zoom lessons, and figured out all the technology. And I pretty frequently help several riders in Australia over Zoom, which just sort of blows my mind that we can do that. The technology is so advanced now.
Yeah.
I foresee, I think I'm putting together some programs that I can do on Zoom that are classroom type settings, where we'll talk about, here's the court, here's how you ride it. People would be in their own homes watching this. And I think that's a great opportunity to provide education without people having to go anywhere. My partner, Aton, he has, I believe it's the 888 Club, and he does such amazing graphics on biomechanics and diagrams, and people can join his club for a very reasonable amount of money and go on that, and a wealth of information there.
Okay.
So I kind of think the virtual arena is new, but I think it gives people that live maybe remotely an opportunity to connect to a community.
Yes.
And I think that's important. We still love our live events because it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I had people tell me they really had fun filming for the virtual shows. They would get together with friends and make a day of it and kind of have a potluck and make it just a fun time. So it did still foster that idea of community and helping each other that we really strongly believe in.
Yeah. It just gave it a whole nother form of life.
Yeah, it did, surprisingly did, because probably had we not gone through what we've all been through this year, we would have just kept going the way we were going.
Yes.
We had to think outside the box, and we always are here to serve our public. So we tried to offer some things for them. And this year we're having our very first Cowboy Dressage World virtual finals.
Oh, wow.
Our big show is not going to be live this year. It's going to be a virtual show.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of exciting for us because it's kind of a big deal. It's new.
It really is. And I really think, that they are saying that this online learning is, it's a 550 million right now, going to $1 billion in sales a year.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
I would think.
Crazy. Yeah.
But it's so accessible for so many now.
Yes.
And also it makes it worthwhile. I'm putting together some little workshops and I can have people from all over, and I tell my students, because I meet people all over the world, and I go, how much fun would it be to have you all in the same classroom?
Yes.
And you're all from different countries and cultures, and you all get to spend time together in the same classroom. I think that's so much fun.
Yes.
And also, even in our virtual gatherings and horse shows, we had classes where we had Australian riders, New Zealand riders, European riders, Canadian riders, and American riders all in the same class.
Like the Olympics. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just truly is a worldwide horse show, if you will.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of fun.
I think that what this has done, I remember when it first aired, so to speak. I met Eitan at a gathering, and he told a funny story about how he never plans any event that he does. He doesn't choreograph. He just goes and he just performs. And he said how Debbie just really didn't like that. And he said I think it was the equestrian games. It was in Europe, and they had him do the grand entry parade, and he was going to lead the grand entry parade. And so everybody's lined up. He's the first one. Everybody's behind him. And he said, I have this lovely horse. And Debbie's saying, are you sure about this? Are you really sure you want to do this like this? And you haven't practiced anything? He says, oh, I don't do that. And he's telling this story to a group of people, and everybody's kind of chuckling. And he says, it was all fine when we were heading down the grand entry parade route, and things are happening behind me. I have no idea what's going on behind me. I'm just riding my horse. He says, well, I get to the end and I turned around, and it was a moment where my heart stopped for a millisecond, and I realized that a 50-foot balloon had been following.
Yeah.
Do you remember the story?
Yeah, I've seen it. I saw the video of it. It's so
said,
funny.
well, this is going to be the true test, he said to myself. And he said, the horse said, are you okay? And I said, yep, I'm okay. He says, okay, I'm okay. And they just kept going. Boy, that could have been another way. Oh, but we just laughed. But I believe that was actually in like 2012. And had just been released to the public. And so it was, he was introducing Cowboy Dressage. He was actually at a ranch locally here in Washington, doing just a meet and greet and explain what was going on. And he was just such a funny gentleman.
Oh, he's very funny.
What a great entertainer.
Yes, he is an entertainer for sure.
And I've seen many of
All
his.
on our toes, trust me.
Well, and very creative. And I so appreciate what you are doing for the industry and for people and horses everywhere. And what a fun, just really heartfelt sport. And thank you very much for your part of that.
Oh yeah, we really are trying to be a safe place to grow your horsemanship and be supportive of each person in their journey with their horse. So I think that's been lacking a little bit within the equine industry. And when people come and they have fun and they're laughing and they make a mistake and they can laugh at themselves and it's not a big deal. And, you know, we're all on the same side. We're all on the same team. And even our judges are very kind and supportive. And, you know, we're just out there to better our horsemanship and have a good time doing it.
And what a great way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very different than people come to our events and they go, this is so different than anything I've ever done. And I go, well, that's good, I think, because even down to all of our staff, they're incredible, friendly, nice people. If we see someone who looks like they're struggling, there's probably 5 people that will go help and just help them along and lend a helping hand.
Yeah, that's an amazing culture to instill in this industry, because it truly hasn't been there in the past. And it needs to be. It's people that are supposed to be having fun doing what they're doing. So thank you. Thank you so much. So we're about to the end of our time, and I just want to say what a wonderful interview and information that you've shared. And we're going to embed some information that has your name and your website. And I will also link to some of the other things that you mentioned, so that people can connect with you.
Great.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day, and have a wonderful evening. And I hope we talk soon.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You have a great evening.
Okay.
Bye-bye.